What is a power? That's a good question. So let's talk about this. We have is 4 to the third power. The 4 is considered a base number, and the 3 is an exponent or called power. So you will hear those two words, either an exponent or power. So what does that mean? That means we're going to take the base 4 and we're going to multiply it the number of exponent or power it tells us to do. In this case, 4 to the third power, we would write it out as 4 times 4 times 4. So if we multiply this out, we have is 4 times 4 will give us 16, and then the third 4, we're going to multiply it to the 16, giving us 64. This is not the same as if we did 4 times 3, which gives us 12. So please be careful of that. Let's take example 2. Example 2 is parentheses negative 2 to the second power. So when we write this out, we have is negative 2 in parentheses times negative 2 in parentheses equals positive 4, because 2 times 2 is 4, and negative times negative gives us positive. Please be careful of this, because some students will write it as negative 2 times 2, and this answer will give us negative 4, which is incorrect. To get that form, we would have it as negative 2 to the second power without a parentheses. So if it is without a parentheses, this right here, the negative will be this negative right here. This 2 will be repeated twice right here. So that's this form right here and this form right here. Whereas this one right here, we're saying we need to take the whole thing of negative 2 and write it twice right here. So that's how these parentheses right here come into form. Okay, so be careful of that. Let's take example 3. We have is negative 2 over 3 to the third power. So let's write this out. We have is negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3. So I like to work at two numbers at a time. So let's work on these two numbers. If we multiply those two numbers, our negative times negative will be positive. 2 times 2 will give us 4, and 3 times 3 on the denominator will give us 9. Then we have is the third number that we still need to continue to multiply. So 4 times 2 gives us 8. 9 times 3 gives us 27, and because there is a negative right here, we're going to have as a negative answer as negative 8 over 27. Example 4, I have as negative 3 in parentheses to the fourth power. So if we write this out, we have as negative 3 in parentheses times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. So let's work two at a time. If I work on these first two, my negative times negative will give us positive. 3 times 3 will give us 9. Let's work on the next two right there. Same thing, we have as negative times negative is positive. 3 times 3 is 9. And we continue to work on these two now. So 9 times 9 will give us then 81. Example 5. Now we're talking about is negative exponents. Whenever we have whole numbers, they are in fractions. So right now we have is 7 to the negative 2 power divided by 1. To make any exponent into positive, you need to change it from where it is in position from either numerator or denominator. 7 and the exponent is negative 2. So to make it a positive, I would have to flip it and bring it to the bottom. So now this becomes 7 to the positive 2. So if I lay this out right here, because the 2 on the exponent tells me I need to write the base number twice. So 7 times 7 is 49, and I still have the 1 from the numerator. Now let's change it and put the negative on the denominator. So if the denominator was negative and I want to make this positive on the exponent, I would have to flip it and bring it to the top, so now it becomes positive. So now we can go ahead and lay it out as 5 times 5 times 5, 3 times, because the exponent tells me to write it 3 times, and so that gives us 125. Now let's go ahead and do some operation with this. So if we add or subtract on the exponents, let's work these at chunks. The first chunk I'm going to work on is 7 to the second power, which gives us 7 times 7. Then the second chunk is 3 to the second power, which gives us 3 times 3. Now if I continue with this and simplify, 7 times 7 is 49, and 3 times 3 is 9. So together, if we add those two numbers, it becomes 58. Let's multiply the exponents. So 2 to the 4th times 3 to the 3rd. So let's go ahead and work in chunks again. So I have this 2 to the 4th right there. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then 3 to the 3rd should be 3 times 3 times 3. So if we simplify this, 2 to the 4th gives us 16, and 3 to the 3rd gives us 27. So if we multiply those two numbers together, we should get 432. Okay, last one is to divide. So if we have exponents, and we're going to go ahead and divide the exponents, I have as 5 to the 3rd times 4 to the 2nd divided by 5 to the 2nd. So if we lay it out, we have as 5 times 5 times 5, and on the 4 we have as 4 times 4, and the denominator is 5 times 5. So if we simplify any fractions, anything over itself is equal to 1. So for example, 5 over 5 is equal to 1. I have another 1, which is that 5 over 5 right there. So if we simplify that, the only thing we have left is still 1 5 on the numerator, the 2 4s, and the denominator we have is a 1. They became a 1 with the numerator. So if we multiply 5 times 4 times 4, that should give us then is 80.